Welcome, everybody, to episode 27 of Two Dudes in a Movie.
That's all right.
Nice.
I'm Luke Parrish here with
AJ Ferguson.
And Paul Tabling.
Okay, guys.
Baby.
What have we been watching this week, fellas? I know Disney Plus just came out, so I'm sure you guys have a slew of things.
I'm gonna let Paul Bat lead off here for us.
All right, so as I said, my wife is a huge Disney Plus Disney Plus fan, but Disney in general. She was actually more excited about it than me, so we've been watching quite a few things. Like we watched Treasure Planet. We watched dude.
I love Treasure Planet.
We watched the old Robin Hood, which I know we talked about a little while ago. A couple of my favorite movies were The Apple Dumpling Gang with Don Knotts and Tim Conway, and then The Three Musketeers with Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen.
I forgot Charlie Sheen was in that movie.
Dude, that is one of my favorite. And I forgot it was a Disney movie, but one of my favorite movies as a kid. And then the only other thing that I watched that wasn't Disney was a movie called Overlord.
Oh, the J.J. Abrams movie.
Yeah.
How was that? I can't find that movie anywhere. Is it on Disney Plus?
No, it's not a Disney movie.
Okay. I was like, that would be very weird if it was.
It's not a Disney movie at all. A friend of mine at work was like, we went through a training class together, and we talked about movies, and I recommended him a couple, and he recommended me a couple, and he was like, dude, you have to watch Overlord. And he's like, I have it. I will bring it and let you borrow it. Yeah. And so what it is it's a movie from the view of the 101st Airborne in Operation Overlord. So that's the operation, the D-Day, so the movie starts off, they're in the plane flying into France, and they're the parachuters.
This is J.J. Abrams directed?
Produced.
Okay, cool.
But so I'm not going to give it all away because...
Please don't, because I've been trying to find this movie forever.
Is it historically...
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No. So... I really don't want to give it away because it's such a weird twist. But like halfway through the movie, so their mission is they have to go take out this radio tower so that the Allied air raids can come in, and they get to this little town, and of course, if you know anything about the battle, a lot of the planes got shot down, tons of men died, so like only like 2 or 3 of the people from their platoon actually make it to where they're going. Yeah. And they get to this town and realize that the Nazis are experimenting on people. And Luke, do you already know where it goes?
I know where it goes.
Okay,
no idea where it goes.
So I'll give it to AJ just in case he does end up watching it and doesn't.
I want to watch it.
So for all of you people at home that don't want to know, stop here and go and just fast forward a little bit.
3, 2, 1.
There's tournament. They're trying to make super soldiers,
right?
But they end up becoming zombies.
Of course they do.
So it's like a
Call of Duty, bro.
It's like almost.
Zombies, bro.
It's almost like a
Nazi
weird,
zombies.
They're Nazi zombies. So
bro, how original!
It's the weirdest.
That's funny
thing, but I actually really enjoyed it.
So they have to fight zombies.
Yeah. So, and they don't really say that they're zombies, but they're trying to create the serum to make super soldiers. Nice. And the way they were testing it was on dead people, and it was bringing people back to life.
Nice.
But the people they bring back to life aren't really all there. They're zombies.
Yeah.
So weird.
I've been wanting to watch that for so long, but you can't like find it to rent anywhere.
That's
and
nuts.
Like I can't find it like vintage stock. I haven't been able to find this movie like anywhere. So it's like
really
that's
interesting. I do recommend it. I think it was at the end of it, like I was like, man, that was actually kind of a fun watch. Like there were parts during it I was like, like, and some of the scenes like where, because there is one where the guy turns or whatever, and I was like almost to the point of retching. I was like, okay, this is a little too much.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Overlord.
I'm glad to hear someone's like, you're the first person I've been around that's been like, yeah, have you ever watched like Overlord? And it's like, yo, yes, finally someone that's, like, knows of this movie.
It was actually like not bad, so I recommend the watch. I wouldn't spend a ton of money on it, but if you can find it, it's worth the watch.
Is that all you've watched?
That is all that I wanted to make note of.
Did you watch any what other TV shows earlier before we started the podcast? You mentioned you watched Rebels. Are there any other shows you've been watching?
I've been watching the Star Wars Rebels on Disney Plus. I've only watched the first season, so I wanted to watch the rest of it. I'm in the middle of season 2. I've also been watching Gargoyles and the Mighty Ducks TV show from the 90s.
Yes.
That were my favorite shows as a kid.
Yes.
And then, what was one? Oh, my wife is watching Quack Pack, which is like the Huey, Dewey, and Louie TV show. Yeah. So yeah, we're Disney'd out.
Dang. Okay.
So yeah, that's
Getting
really
your money's worth, bro.
Oh, dude. Yes, for sure.
Getting your year's money's worth for this month.
What did my wife? Oh, my wife. We watched The Emperor's New Groove today while I was working from home.
Yes. Good stuff.
Dude,
Look at you guys.
Great
it's
stuff.
Just
Have you ever played the board game called Villainous?
No, but I've seen it.
I need to have you guys over and play.
Okay.
It's fun. It's a ton of fun.
Okay.
It's a Disney game.
Nice.
Anything
Disney at this point?
Yeah, dude. It's fun. It's a good game.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, AJ.
I watched a bunch of stuff. My son Winston's like 7 months old, and he's got the baby disease. I don't even know how to say
baby disease.
I can't get it. Like adults can't get it, but he's got it, and he's been sick for 2 days. So I literally have spent the last 48 hours on my couch. No joke. I haven't moved like very much at all. So
wow, I was gonna say you've been holding it for 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I watched a bunch of stuff. So I watched all of season 4 of Man in the High Castle. Nice. I'm a huge fan of that show. I think it was in my top 10 favorite TV shows of all time.
It was up there, yeah.
It's really high. I love that show. I thought it was an extremely satisfying ending. If you're a fan of the show, if you've never watched the show, it's an Amazon Prime original. It's a great show. Mm-hmm. It's basically talking about the Nazis won World War II. It's really, really interesting. Great show. I watched that. I watched Mandalorian. I watched Bug's Life. I didn't really like it. It was okay. Whatever.
You've never seen Bug's Life before?
No.
That's weird. I've
watched
the movie so many times.
It's one of those movies as a kid. I just I don't know. It just escaped me somehow.
Okay.
I watched Great Mouse Detective.
Cool.
Also better than it was better. I remembered it better than it actually was. Mm-hmm. Put it that way. It just wasn't that. I mean, it's fine, but it's whatever.
You're just not a kid at heart anymore.
I know.
Look at AJ, Mr. Adult.
I watched Zombieland.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
That was your first time, right?
First time ever.
How was that?
It was okay. About halfway through it, I was like, this is the dumbest movie I've ever watched in my entire life.
Well, yeah, it's a comedy.
I mean, it's pretty dumb,
but
it's good.
And then it ended, and I was like, if the next one were on Redbox for $1, I'd probably get it, just because I like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, do you not love the scene at the end where he's like surrounded in that little shack? And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was great.
That part was awesome.
The last 30 minutes redeemed the movie with the Bill Murray scene and all that stuff. That was funny.
Oh, dude.
That was funny. I laughed at that part. I only laughed out loud like once or twice, but it redeemed itself. I was worried for a while, but it got better. I watched Shutter Island. I watched,
of course,
Moneyball.
Yeah, baby.
That was better than I remembered. Good movie, solid movie. That's Brad Pitt. If you don't know, it's about Billy Bean and the Athletics. It's pretty interesting, actually. I'm not a baseball fan, but I enjoyed that movie.
It's a good one.
I went and watched Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
Great movie. Loved it.
That's what I've been hearing. Everyone's been
Loved
like,
it.
awesome.
Great movie.
Nice.
I know we're going to do an episode in January ranking our top movies from 2019. It's not going to be up there with Endgame and whatever, but it's probably going to be in that 5-ish range. It is
nice.
It's a great movie. Great movie. I enjoy Christian Bale and Matt Damon a lot. Both of them.
Okay.
A lot. And they're both phenomenal in this movie. And they're friends, and their chemistry's great, and they're funny and dynamic and interesting. I don't really like race cars. Never really watched race cars on TV ever. But this movie was so interesting. Mm-hmm. And the way they shot it, the way they made it. Like, I was skeptical of going to the theater to see this movie. I was like, why would I go to the theater to watch a race car movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And holy cow, it was awesome. They put you in the driver's seat, and you're going like 220 miles an hour, and it is amazing. The sound effects Like whenever the car passes you, like literally you can hear the speaker go, like it goes.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so cool.
Oh, it made a lot at the box office. I think 31 million. It's
it was-
like
dang.
opening
It
weekend
was
or
awesome.
something like that.
I'm gonna have to go check it out in the theaters.
It's worth seeing in the theater. If you're like I don't know if I want to see it in the theater or not. I want to see the movie. Go see it in the theater. If you're not sure about it at all, I don't know what to tell you, but I enjoyed it a lot.
If you hate cars and good actors, then don't go see this movie.
It was about racing, but it wasn't like it's kind of like Moneyball. Like it's about baseball, but it's not really like
it's more about the people
Yeah, it's about the people. It's a
Yeah.
movie about people
who also drive cars.
who they drive cars, and the racing scenes are cool. Like they are really cool. Some of the crashes that happen and things like that, they do a great job making that movie. Great job. I think that's all I got. I guarantee you I forgot a couple things, but been a busy couple days for me. Man in the High Castle. That's the highlight of my week so far. If you want to know, great show.
You guys blew me away. Jeez, I've only watched one thing.
Nice.
Oh, maybe we should have made Luke go first.
It was a TV show, and it was The World According to Jeff Goldblum. I watched the first two episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Was it good?
It was good. Well, I mean, you got to be a Jeff Goldblum fan to enjoy it.
I bet.
So if you're not into like this, like older, like quirky, curious, like just kind of weird guy, then you're not gonna enjoy it. Like he's just these weird like tendencies and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like the first episode, he like dives into the world of sneakers, and he goes to like sneaker con and like gets his own. There's this guy named the shoe surgeon. He's in like California or something, but he's like the guy that like all the NBA players, all these like highfalutin like people go to for custom shoes.
Nice.
And so he went to him, they designed his own shoes, and then he went to Adidas, found out how they make shoes for professional athletes, like specialized for that person. So it was really interesting because you're finding all this stuff about shoes. I'm like, holy crap, like the amount of money that swaps hands at these sneaker cons is incredible.
Is he like the host?
He
Kind of like Jerry Seinfeld.
So he
show?
voices it over, but he's also the guy like you're following through the whole time. Like he's
So it's
interviewing people, talking to them. Like
Is it kind of like Comedians in Cars a little bit?
yeah, I guess
Same-
so.
it's the same-ish.
He's like a
Kind of.
host. Yeah,
It's the same
But it's
setup.
like from the way he set it up, like in the trailers and stuff, it's every episode is going to be about something different that he really likes.
Okay.
So like sneakers, I think there's an ice cream episode.
Ice Cream's episode 2. That was
Okay.
another interesting one too,
Cool.
because he goes to this guy that makes this guy like it's one of the most like popular ice cream places in the country, and like even in the winter, it's like there's a line out the door to get in there. And the guy like makes weird ice cream that like incorporates things like crickets and like mealworms, and he's like a weird flavor guy. He's like he'll go out into the forest, find these like flowers. He's like, can you smell that? Can you taste that? And he'll put it in his ice cream, mix it all up and whatnot. And
Weird.
he made it's
It's got to be in LA. It's got to be.
Oh yeah.
episodes are half
gotta
an
be.
hour, so I mean it's a quick, easy watch. And then if you're a Jeff Goldblum fan, I mean the flan, that's all it is Jeff Goldblum. So I mean, it was a fun experience. Danielle really enjoyed it, so
That's cool. Yeah, I want to watch it. I like him a lot. Because the way he is in a lot of his very recent movies is how he is in real life.
Yeah.
Like in
especially Ragnarok.
Yeah, that is Jeff Goldblum
He plays
at
himself.
his best. Yeah, so if you like that Jeff Goldblum, you'll probably like the show, I would guess.
Yeah, very, very, yeah. I will second that.
2 more things I watched.
Oh, okay, wow.
Oh, add 'em to the list, baby.
Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise,
Still
yeah.
need to watch
Emily Blunt.
that.
You ever seen it?
No.
I enjoy it. Have you seen it?
No.
Really? That's surprising. to
It's
me.
on my watch list though on Letterboxd.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Hashtag sponsor us.
Yes. It's a fun idea. Just kind of that
I know the
Groundhog
idea.
Day,
Yeah,
but in like a futuristic warfare setting. It was fun.
Exoskeletons and whatnot.
Tom Cruise is so interesting in this movie because he starts out as a coward. Like his character is like afraid of fighting. And he's like forced to go into battle, like against his will. And he's like a huge wussy. And literally, by the end of the movie, he's like Tom Cruise, you know? He's like friggin' Jack Reacher.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise.
Which is crazy to watch, but because he never plays a role like that, at least you know. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I watched I told Paul this already off the podcast, but I watched the Avengers Assemble documentary
Yeah,
thing that's
yeah.
on Disney Plus. It was really interesting. It was fun to watch. Kind of how that, like the first documentary, kind of basically what it does is it just kind of tells you how the MCU got started.
Well, it's something that's so big and such like a once in a lifetime kind of event. To see the inner workings of it all I think is crazy interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. And it was fun to watch because of like people like Jon Favreau, who we're actually about to talk about with The Mandalorian. Like he got his starts not, but he became famous.
Yeah, kind of a household name.
And became like a huge deal because of Iron Man. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good segue actually into what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so this week we are skipping our top 5, so if that's your favorite part of the podcast, then I'm sorry. We have more fun things to talk about, like The Mandalorian, which is on Disney Plus. There's 2 episodes out.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 episodes. Both of them are about like what, an hour?
40.
They're roughly
40
like
minutes.
40 minutes?
I would say they're
30.
a little bit less. Yeah,
The first one was like 40. Second one was like 30.
They almost feel too short.
They do.
Yeah,
I agree.
they're a little short.
Like I'm like, give me more, please.
Bro, they spent their $15 million and they're done.
Well, the fact that there's only like 8 episodes or whatever, I'm like,
Right.
crap.
Season 2 is going to come out pretty soon.
I can say they're already. Jon Favreau is already
they're
posting images from season 4, season 2.
Yeah.
I bet they crank it out within 12 months.
I could see that.
I'm like, cool. Make
Once a year.
the episodes. 8 episodes is fine. Just make them like an hour.
Yeah, I mean, make them an hour long.
I bet the last couple
think.
episodes are longer.
I mean, if this is the length they need to do for them to tell the story effectively and not draw things out, then I'm totally cool with it. Like if they're like sitting there struggling to like come up with an ad story,
that's how I feel.
I'm cool with it.
Like,
but I'm like, I end with each episode wanting more, and I just feel like 30 minutes episodes, 8 episodes. I don't feel like that's enough.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think like for me, like traditional cable shows struggle because of the 24 episode season, but also because of that 45-minute mark they have to hit every week. Like shows like The Walking Dead just get so bogged down.
When they add in those like side character episodes where they hang out with the side character the whole time, I'm like, why?
Terrible.
This is a waste of my Sunday night.
So I like the idea of what they're doing as far as the Stranger Things kind of streaming model of let's do a limited series, give the people what they want, not too much, nothing's gonna be slow. I'm a fan of the once a week thing. Like I mean it sucks because we have to wait.
Well, I like the anticipation,
but I like it because it creates this conversation every day at work all week long, and then on Friday it comes down and you have the exact same thing for a week. I think it's brilliant by Jon Favreau, Disney, whoever's in charge of the decision making on that. I think it's good. It's just genius.
Well, like it's easier. What I find is like Stranger Things, they drop the entire season.
Right.
It's over in a day or two.
When
like
you don't sit there and talk much about it,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, did you watch Stranger Things? What do
Yeah.
you think? This one, you're sitting here going, you're like, did you watch episode 2 of The Mandalorian? You can have a conversation about that episode.
Exactly. That's to me, when you talk about Stranger Things, you never talk about individual characters. You never talk about individual plot lines or things inside of a season.
Yeah.
You just talk about, hey, did you like the finale? Basically, is what your conversation turns into. And I think that's what I'm saying. I think Disney did a really smart thing. I don't know if they're gonna do this with all their original shows or not. I guess they kind of already have started that, but
I would bet
Jeff
you
Goldblum and stuff too.
I bet
There's only
they
2
do.
episodes out of that too.
I bet you they would.
Okay, enough about the setup of the show. What do you guys think of the content as far as...
Do you want to talk about episode 1 and then 2?
Yeah, let's go.
Episode 1. So the way it looks, the way it sounds, the way they shot it, the way Pascal plays the character, just anything you kind of want to talk about, just briefly.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it looks awesome.
Dude,
and that's huge. Like most TV shows
$15
are
million
low. Yeah, the budget... Literally, I don't know if this is true or not, but everywhere I've read, $15 million per episode is the budget, which is stupid because most movies, average American movies, are around that, maybe a little bit higher than that for a film. And we're only putting up, 40 minutes for
$15 million.
It's insane. I don't want to do the math, but it's crazy.
CGI and whatnot.
I was going to say, I can
insane.
see where some of it comes in, but...
Yeah, so for me, episode 1 was awesome just by establishing the look, establishing the money and the budget with some cool CGI. The ice monster thing comes to mind.
At the very beginning.
At the very beginning, when I think of the CGI in episode 1. So to me, I think that was really important for them to establish kind of the, hey, this is legit. We're gonna treat y'all right. We're not gonna cheap out on you guys.
Yeah,
I thought that was really, really
A
cool.
lot of the sets too, because they had to build
Holy
a lot of
cow.
sets.
right. Yeah,
No
and see,
doubt.
I
The
think a
different
lot of
worlds.
it, came into a lot of it is practical looking.
Yeah, the costumes.
A
And such.
lot of the costumes, the settings, and
Aliens. They did a lot of the
Even-
old school aliens
yeah.
with the puppets. You could tell they were puppets, or you could tell they were animatronic, or you could tell they were.
yeah,
They
it's
tried not
not.
to CGI everything.
Yeah,
I loved his voice.
Yeah,
His first line was literally one of the dopest lines I've ever heard in anything. Movie, show, it does not matter. That line
Yeah.
was dynamite. And they opened with it, and then they flashed the title with the cool little, horn sound, whatever thing that is.
Yes.
And
What
I was
was-
like,
what was the line?
Yes. He says, I can take you in...
I can take you in warm, or I can take you in cold.
I can take you in cold. And
I
he
was
goes,
like,
that was like,
Yeah.
snap. So good.
So-
I just love the way he talks. Like his voice
Yeah.
is really cool.
No, Pedro Pascal does great delivery with it all. Well,
He's such
so
an awesome actor.
The first
yeah,
episode, I enjoyed it, yes, but there was a weird tonal shift for me
In the middle?
with The Mandalorian.
In the middle?
So
Okay.
yeah, kind of in the middle, because like the first probably half the episode, he seems very just
like-
like quiet, like
Yeah.
and like he says lines and stuff, but he's not like speaking constantly. Very just like
Stoic.
stoic and everything. Like he'll shoot your head off and stuff, and then it's almost like a tone shift halfway through where he's like chatting up a storm with the robot, and then where he's like learning to ride that
yeah, the
animal,
blurg.
that alien thing, the blurg. Yeah. So I mean, for me, like I don't mind it either way. I would have preferred if he would have been like that from the beginning, or he would have stayed kind of like quiet and stoic all the way through.
I think,
For me, it was just weird.
Yeah,
To have him
no,
start out
I-
like that and then all of a sudden just be like
yeah.
really chatty Cathy.
I totally feel that. I think for me, it made relative sense in the different situations that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, whenever he's in a situation where he doesn't trust people or doesn't feel comfortable, like he is, like you said, quiet.
He
And
was like a shy kid.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just kind of shy and standoffish and doesn't really want to do anything. And he'll beat you up and shoot you and cut you in half with a door if he has
Yeah.
to. But whenever he feels comfortable with the old man or with the robot or whatever, I feel like whenever he's in a situation that he kind of has control over and feels comfortable, I think he
Or is in a
kinda
hurry.
loosens up.
Yeah.
Or he's in a
I
hurry.
also feel like
That's
with
true.
IG-10 or what was his number?
Yeah, I don't remember.
IG-88 maybe?
No,
No.
it's a different IG unit than.
I-
but
Oh, look at
Yeah.
it.
With
10
that one,
sounds
he
right.
was very rushed.
He was like, let's
He was
go.
like, "Dude, stop shooting people. We're trying to,
Yeah.
we got to,
I love that. That was a fun little scene.
yeah." With Taika Waititi,
Yeah.
God, I love Taika Waititi.
I was sad that they killed him, but then I was like, well, hey, he
He-
can literally play every single
IG unit.
IG unit. That
He's
they
probably
have in
going to
the whole
come back
universe.
at some
Well,
point.
I
yeah.
know that's what I'm saying. He talks about manufacturers and things like that, and surely there's a couple hundred
yeah.
of these droids around or whatever. At least a
Right.
dozen of them around, and so surely he'll come around.
Well, at least 88 because
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
IG-88 in like the games
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the old movies and
Exactly.
everything.
So
So
there you go. I agree
but
though.
yeah.
I felt
It
that
is
kind
a
of
good-
that
yeah.
shift.
Like, it
Episode
didn't-
2 even feels more lighthearted than episode 1 did.
Yeah, it didn't like turn me off of the show and didn't make me even like dislike of the episode. I just thought it was a little weird.
I would agree because, and that may be what part of it was, because for me, honestly, like from in the weird little bit in the middle,
Yeah.
like the beginning, I was hooked, and at the end,
It's awesome. Yeah.
like the whole battle scene, and then we'll talk about the very end.
Yeah.
But like the whole, like the middle part of it, I was like,
The blurg.
man, this is like,
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, it better get better, or I'm already gonna not like this.
Yeah.
And then obviously the big drop at the end, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you got me now.
Yeah, let's go.
Which, spoiler alert, episode 1, I'll give you 3, 2, 1 to pause it. 3, 2, 1. He finds freaking like a baby Yoda. Like,
Yeah.
or whatever species that is.
Yeah, and
That part I was like,
such a
oh.
good cliffhanger.
Yeah, I like,
So good.
Because that's a way to kind of like tie it somewhat back. Like you're seeing some parallels between all the series and everything. It
Yeah.
all ties it together, like the familiar aliens. You're like, you've never
Yeah.
seen like a young
Yeah. And
species
he's
of
50
whatever
years
Yoda
old.
is.
He's not a baby. Like, he looks like a baby.
Well-
and he acts like a baby.
Mhm.
And he is a baby,
yeah,
but it's 50 years old or whatever.
yeah,
So, for me, I think I liked episode 1 probably more than I liked episode 2.
Mm.
I don't really know. I guess how to
IG
judge.
11.
I don't know how to judge
11.
that.
Dang.
But I liked episode 1. I think better than number 2. And
Interesting.
I don't know really why. I just thought that I thought it was stronger. But anyway, episode 2 for me was weird because he was lame, or at least he felt lame. Like he gets his butt kicked twice
by
the Jawas once.
Well, that he was outnumbered, and he was trying to climb into their fortress.
Totally.
You're right. You're totally right. But like he's supposed to be this like guy, you know.
Well, and he was for most
and he was
of it.
awesome. But then like
Then he got to the top, and like, what are you gonna do? They all have these electric like shotguns pointed at you.
I don't know.
Which he realized. He got up there, and he's like,
Dang it.
yeah.
And then the rhino thing.
Yeah.
I loved that.
That was a
That
great
scene
that
was-
was a dope
like
scene.
when he kind of accepts his fate there at the end, and he just
So-
holds out his knife.
Yeah. So
I
I
thought
watched,
that was cool.
So I watched it once, and then I was like, gosh, this guy's supposed to be awesome, and he's just kind of not. So then I watched it again, and basically the conclusion I came to was that he is relatively young and newish, inexperienced-ish. That's why he still doesn't have his armor. He's still building his armor.
He has like the helmet and his shoulder piece now.
Exactly. And so for me, that was kind of like he's still learning, he's still growing, he's still not quite like the Mandalorian yet.
Well, he's also out of his element too.
And he's also out of his element. He's got this baby thing he's trying to protect and take care of, and he doesn't really know what to do. And so for me, I think all of those things kind of played into that. Because I've talked to some people, and they really didn't like the episode 2 because they showed him being like weak and all this different stuff.
Well, you have to do that to establish a good character.
And that's
right.
And that's where I'm coming from now. I agree with you guys. I think that showed his character, and I think for me at least it made sense plot wise because I think the whole season is going to kind of end up being about him developing and growing and becoming more of the Mandalorian.
Because we don't really have a sense of where he is at in his Mandalorian
We have no
career.
idea.
That's
we
true.
have no idea. No idea. He could have 10,000 kills.
Like we know he's a foundling,
He could have 1.
so he wasn't like bred into like Mandalorianism or whatever.
Right.
Which I love his line, like guns are part of his
Weapons are
religion.
my religion.
Yeah. That, I thought that was awesome.
That's a big
legit.
Mandalorian
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I love the show. If you haven't watched it yet, probably just kind of ruined a little bit of it for you. But what do you guys think about the Yoda being extremely, I don't want to call him Yoda, but that's kind of what he is right now. The extremely force sensitive picking up the rhino.
I thought it was cool because it wasn't out of nowhere because he clearly tried to use his force powers earlier to try and heal him.
To heal him with the arm.
Right.
To heal the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, he has force powers. Like I would have been like, ah man, if they would have done that. But since they kind of like instigated it a
reached
little
out,
earlier,
had his arm.
yeah, which I thought that thing was the freaking cutest thing on the planet.
Oh no.
I was like, gosh, like the scene where he keeps getting out of its crib and he keeps like standing up on it back. I could have watched him do that 100 times and just be like, this is great. But no, like I thought I liked that scene because they built up to it. Like I was totally okay with it because yeah, like I said, they built up to it. They didn't like all of a sudden he has force powers. And you got to think like maybe this is like I don't know much about that species of alien in Star Wars.
I'm actually Googling it right now.
I don't know if anybody does.
I'm assuming that they're crazy force sensitive because the two that we see is Yoda and then was it Yaddle?
Yaddle.
Which is the other one
There
in
was
what,
another
episode
one
2?
on the council.
Yeah.
So I actually read a theory that the reason Yaddle is on the council in episode 1 and not on the council in episode 2 and 3 is because her and Yoda had an affair, and this is the baby.
This is their child.
That's literally a fan theory that I read, and I was like
Hey, dude.
laughing while I was reading it, but I was like, hey, 50 years?
I mean, it
Kind
can
of
fit.
works. And I was like, dang it, if this is right,
Yeah.
holy crap. But anyway, you're totally right. I think that they set up the species in a cool way. They made the baby like close his eyes and reach out just like Yoda does.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like how they made him pass out at the end.
Yeah, so he
I
wasn't
think
just sitting there like
he wasn't just
God
like
or
chilling.
anything.
Yeah, he was one of the most like strenuous things he's
because
ever
it's
done.
technically you're still like an infant in
Yeah.
Yoda world or whatever.
Yeah,
Yoda
Yoda years.
I really I liked episode 2 a lot. I liked it better than episode 1, so I was kind of the opposite of you, just
Interesting.
because I like that they showed that he's vulnerable. He was out of his element, like, because, you know, he's an assassin. He's used to taking out people, not having to fight giant, like, rhino alien things.
Right.
And then try to infiltrate this Jawa, like, Jawa, and this Jawa fort.
That was fun to watch, the Jawas, because we never see the Jawas, like, really ever. Like, this much.
We experience them in
since
episode 4.
Yeah, not this much. And never this, like, long and never this detailed and whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
Well, he was sitting there evaporating them for, like,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Yeah, he shot those
what
first
is that?
couple.
What
I
is
was
that
like,
sniper rifle thing he has? That gun is awesome. Well, it's like electrocuted.
yeah, I can say
something on
like
the
he
end of
can.
it.
Yeah, it's like a cattle prod and a rifle put
That scene
together.
the scene at the beginning where he fights off the couple of other bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. Yeah, I just love the overall feel of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I think they've established it really well, and I think it's really strong.
Well,
I think
it
it's its own thing. It's a
Yeah.
Star Wars thing, 100% feels like a Star Wars thing, but it's its own kind of branch.
So
off
this
of
is this is post episode 6, right?
that.
Right.
5-ish years
Which
after.
I think, going back to episode 1, I think is cool to see, like, what happens to the stormtroopers now that the Empire's fallen and
Yeah.
everything, and you see that they're working for these, like, underworld guys
Yeah,
in a way, and it's
they
like,
need a job.
yeah, they need
Yeah.
they're common people now, like, they
Need
need
some
a
money.
job, and it's cool to see their beat up, like, stormtrooper armor and
Yeah.
everything. So something I read about was a couple weeks ago about their armor is like, everyone's like, oh, they just die instantly, why even wear the armor? What I read is, like, whenever it hits the armor, it disperses, like, the impact or the energy, and so they're actually, like, just, like, knocked out or something like that.
Interesting.
So it disperses it, and they're just kind of immobile for a little bit, so they're not actually just getting hit, like, easy.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's something I read. I don't know how true that is, but
Sounds cool.
just a little nugget of internet knowledge.
I loved the German guy that gives him, like, the bounty in episode 1. He's the one from the trailer, like it's
The
a
voice.
complicated profession or whatever. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the guy. Yeah, I thought that scene was really cool. I liked the shoulder scene in the beginning at the first episode
Where he goes into, like, the
and he
Mandalorian,
talks
like,
to that lady.
clubhouse.
Yeah,
and-
which that was bizarre, but I like it. Sets up things in the future.
Yeah.
The foundlings thing, we don't really know what that means or what that is.
Well,
but
he was
it's gonna be cool.
He was found. He wasn't
That's
initially,
what
like, born into
He
the
wasn't. He's
Mandalorian
not actually a Mandalorian.
religion.
Which apparently nobody is anymore because
Yeah.
Django and Boba aren't.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I don't
This
know.
dude apparently isn't. So yeah, that
excited.
did bum me out a little bit. I was like, finally, somebody who's in the
It's like a legit Mandalorian.
who's legit, because I
Yeah.
mean the only other ones are in the
Clone
Clone
Wars.
Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd want, but so that bummed me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? They could change that or whatever.
Do you guys want to see the black lightsaber? Or the-
Dude,
Oh, the
Would
sword
that be
thing?
cool?
Yeah,
That'd be
that
pretty
was
dope.
Cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
which Jon Favreau was.
Yeah, he played that
the
character.
yeah, was the voice of that.
That's all I could think
that
about the whole
character
time was 'cause
from-
he's like a big nerd. He loves Mandalorian so much.
Yep.
That's why he created the show.
But
So I watch another. This is sort of on topic, so bear with me.
go for it.
I've talked about the movie in the past, Chef, that he did,
Yeah.
where he learned to cook. Well, he has a Netflix show where they kind of go around, and it's like 6 episodes a season or whatever. And one of the episodes, they went to Skywalker Ranch, and because they have like apparently a stinking huge garden at Skywalker Ranch of all these different fruits and vegetables and everything. So they wanted to, but whatever. And they're cooking in the kitchen, and Dave Filoni, or however the crap you say his last name, strolls in, and they start talking about, like, yeah, when because he does a lot of the directing and producing for Mandalorian, and then did all the Clone War stuff, and so they talk about
crazy.
how they just randomly like ran into each other, and
Became
he was like, "Hey, do you want to do a voice of a character in Clone Wars?" And then had like a whole big arc thing
Over his
with
character.
That's
his
awesome.
character, and so it was
That's
like
amazing.
a complete accident.
Yeah, I watched an interview with those two guys together, and they're funny.
Yeah.
Because they're friends, and they're both nerds, and
Yeah.
yeah, they're just cool. It's crazy. Jon Favreau started with Marvel, and then he went straight up Disney with Jungle Book and Lion King. And now he's gone to the other branch that Disney owns, is Star Wars. So
Yeah, dude.
It was good.
he's just like making his life savings up with Disney's money.
Yeah.
Any other
Why
final
not?
thoughts on Mandalorian?
No, I mean I appreciate this as like a Rogue One kind of thing, like a side story that's done very well. Like obviously Rogue One has more ties to the series, but it's just it shows that you can have like a Star Wars story without the world ending.
Yeah.
Basically.
Or like a Jedi. Like there's
Yeah.
no lightsabers. There's no Force. I guess the Yoda thing's Force sensitive, but there's no like superhero kind of character.
No Padawan
Yeah, there's
thing.
no. Yeah, I think that's really cool. That's one of the things I liked about Rogue One.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Paul?
So yeah, one last little nugget that kind of goes with the tonal thing, I think, is for me, this whole series thus far looks and feels very much like a Clint Eastwood like gunslinger western movie.
100%.
It's a space western. Yeah.
It's like like a
Literally.
weird Firefly space
doubt.
western something.
Yeah.
Dude.
Literally, the music for me is what, like the way he walks and the way they shoot
Oh,
things
dude,
and everything.
yeah, like
Yeah, but
and the little like weird little like drawdown scenes.
Yeah,
and I'm just
they
like,
show his
man.
hand. And he
And-
walks into the bar, like kind of, yeah.
And that's how all those movies start, is kind of how this is going. It starts off like there's the really badass scene at the very beginning, and then in the middle, he kind of has the whole like, oh, I gotta go see my family for blah blah,
Origin,
whatever the kind of boring quote unquote part. And then he has his. So I feel like that's kind of where the tone of the whole show is kind of going. And then, like, I feel like, because I know we're supposed to add, like, another couple characters that we haven't seen yet. Like, the girl that's in the trailer.
The general guy.
And then the general guy. So, like, it might end up being, like, a, Magnificent Seven kind of thing where it's, like, getting the team together to go whatever. So it feels like a Western to me. It's really
I'm
weird.
looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, me too.
You said Firefly. It's funny. Some last comment, I guess, on the Mandalorian, but someone wrote some news place wrote an article like saying like this is the way space westerns. This is the first space western to do it correctly, and all the comments were just people like doing like Firefly gifs and being like, no, like hold on, which you haven't watched Firefly.
No, it's on my
yet.
list.
Man, you should have.
Just one season, right?
Just one season. Was it
Unfortunately.
12 episodes?
Rip.
Is it 13?
Which,
Yeah.
Which network
And a
canceled
movie.
it?
ABC.
Ouch.
Or was it?
I think it was Fox.
I don't remember.
Okay, is it just me or is the music like awesome?
It's
in
good.
the Mandalorian?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a
That's
huge,
good.
I'm a huge
Well, it has
fan.
that. I can't remember his name, but
The guy from the
Is that Giacchino?
the guy that does the
Black
score.
Panther.
Yeah.
He's good, dude.
The guy who does what?
He did the Black Panther soundtrack.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, I love the music. His little riff that he has every
Michael
time he,
Giacchino. Is that
Yeah,
who it is?
Ludwig Göransson.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that's who you said, right?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of the guy who's done like the recent movies, the Star Wars, like Michael Giacchino
Yeah,
or
no.
Giacchino, however you say his name.
This guy did Black Panther, Creed, Venom, Creed 2, Central Intelligence, We're the Millers, which is a hilarious movie.
let's go. He's doing
Tenet. I don't even know what that is.
That's Chris Nolan's next movie,
Where'd you see that?
Oh my.
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
Dude, if it's Chris Nolan, he's gonna see it.
bro.
What, dude? I'm legit.
Tenet
gonna-
looks legit.
I'm gonna.
Tenet looks awesome.
I'm
Just
going to
saying.
invest in the Chris Nolan jar. You need to start bringing change.
Yeah, we'll get a Hobby Lobby and we'll make a jar.
Yeah,
for
so
you.
for those of you at home who haven't figured it out, AJ obviously loves Chris Nolan, and Luke and I, for 2 or 3 weeks now, have made jokes. We're gonna get him like the swear jar for Chris Nolan style.
every
So
time he's brought up.
if you
Hey,
guys
if
want
you
to
had
see
a quarter
that,
for every time he came up, you'd be rich.
like I say, if you guys want to see that on the show or hear it on the show, let us know.
Okay, I'm not gonna get into it. We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, give us the deets.
All right. So this week, if you didn't already know, which you should by now because it's going to be in the title of this episode, but whatever, we're talking about Shutter Island, the 2010 Martin Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo, and Sir Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben King.
Sir Ben.
Great
So a
actor.
little synopsis. In 1954, a U.S. Marshal investigates the disappearance of a murderer who escaped from a hospital for the criminally insane.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What was the budget and
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I did not look up the Metacritic, so we're not going to have that at the moment. Luke might be able to get it by the time I'm there.
I'll do it.
But budget was $80 million.
Dang.
It earned $295 million.
Dang.
So it made a good little chunk of change. But that's the Scorsese thing, dude. I don't think he's had a movie recently
He doesn't
that
make much money.
No, dude, I would say $215 million is a success.
I mean,
making,
yeah,
like-
100%. You're right,
Yeah.
but I just like in proportion to.
You're making
It's
your
not
money
an
back and some.
Avengers Endgame.
Bro.
Like, geez.
Frozen 2.
Shutter Island. Do you know one of the Metascore?
Yeah, so let me get the other two real quick.
Okay.
So I got 8.1 for IMDb,
Solid.
68 for Rotten
Ouch.
Tomatoes, and Metacritic is
63.
Ouch.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 ouches.
it was an interesting.
Wow.
And we'll kind of get into obviously the style of movie.
It is a strange.
It's an interesting
Strange.
take that I halfway through saw but didn't see coming at the
Yeah.
same time. So anyway,
I do that every week. I'm going
must
to stop
have-
that. I'm going to stop putting my arm up there.
All right, so 5 sections that we normally go through. Idea. Let's start with idea.
Okay.
For me, I said it was a cool idea. Super great intro with the setup and the making it weird and creepy and you're on edge like from the beginning.
Oh, dude.
I thought it was awesome. I thought they did a great job. I mean, who wants to go to an insane asylum on an island in the 50s for the criminally insane
Like the
at night
aggressive
with
criminally insane.
yeah,
That'd be
with
crazy.
like a giant storm and it's just weird and
Oh, yeah.
like I thought it was brilliant. I gave it a 9 out of 10 for this section. I thought the idea was really cool. I thought it was executed well. Super solid section for me.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
So something about this movie just felt very familiar to me the whole time. Like the whole time I was watching it, and I'm like, there's something about it just feels familiar. So I gave it a 7 out of 10, probably because, I mean, we're reviewing it now, so obviously giant spoilers, but here I go. 3,
Yeah, here we
2,
go.
1. The ending, like, I think to me, it's like once you've seen one movie with the big twist, like when you're
Prestige?
like The Prestige, that I think that movie set me up to not feel as like surprised at the end of this. But this movie also gave you good hints during the middle of it, like
Yeah.
like not being able to see the records. I was like, I mean, obviously, okay, honestly, I had this movie ruined for me like 7 years ago. So that didn't help.
It's your own fault.
It's not my fault. People were talking about it in class. I was in 8th grade. But so what I did really like is that is the way they flipped it and stuff. That he was crazy the whole time,
Right.
which made this movie hard to rate because you're kind of rating it on the ending in a way,
Right.
not the whole like section in between.
Whether they pulled it off.
Because
or
it
not.
almost feels like a different movie after that.
I think it feels like a different movie once you know the ending. Like,
Yeah.
I've only seen this movie twice. Once was about a month ago, 6 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I didn't know the ending at that point. So that was like brain teaser.
Yeah.
But I watched it the other day for the second time, knowing the ending. And it was a totally different viewing experience.
Yeah.
But it was in a good way. It's almost like when you watch The Prestige for the second time.
Yeah.
You're watching all of those little minute details that you don't catch the first time. So that was fun for me. Obviously, this movie wouldn't be as good if you had it spoiled. Did you know the ending at all? You didn't have it spoiled for you.
Not real hard.
Okay.
I remember when it got to it, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember somebody told me this.
Yeah.
But I did not remember going in.
That's good. See, I had no idea. I'd never even heard of this movie before
Oh, okay.
when I watched it for the first time. So my brain was literally just like when it happened. I think I saw it coming like maybe 30 to 60 seconds before it happened. Like,
Yeah,
not even that far ahead of probably.
I don't remember when. I knew.
And then even whenever he's, which we're way ahead of schedule, but even whenever he says, like, he starts listing all the reasons why he's crazy, I was like, nah, he's just messing with them. Or nah, he's just trying to get him to like not dig into the.
Yeah, let's save that for later.
Yeah.
Anyway, your score on this section idea.
So my score for this was a 10 actually.
Okay, nice.
I even though yes, we've seen a lot of. I agree with your point that there are a lot of movies with major twists.
Yeah.
This one is still in a way different.
Yeah.
To me, of like, the whole what AJ said. You're going to an insane asylum in the 50s. I had no clue it was 50s. I thought it was like the 2010s.
It was a really cool setting.
Well,
I love
it. And he's a war veteran, and so he's got all those flashbacks from the concentration camps and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
So I thought this was a.
I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of the movie. Like, no lie, I loved every minute of watching it. It's just something about it. Like,
have you ever seen Stonehurst Asylum?
What?
No.
It's another movie. It's really similar to this movie.
Is this like the Stanford prison?
No,
I was gonna say, what is it with you and these?
It's Ben Kingsley. It's a Ben Kingsley movie. It's on Netflix. Or it used to be on Netflix. But it's an insane asylum in like the Victorian era, like Sherlock Holmes era.
Okay.
It's really similar, and so that's why to me this movie I gave it a 9, just because like the insane asylum thing to me has been played up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree.
I guess I just haven't seen many movies with.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with your point, but I gave it a 9.
I liked it, and it's like it did feel familiar to me. That's why I rated it a little lower. I think it being spoiled for me had something to do with it, because like
fair.
Going through it, I was already looking for those things. Like, why is he? What are these instances? Like him not? Yeah, like I said, him not being able to see the records, and him like not being able to go on the ferry, him not having access to certain things. Like,
right.
Like those were the stuff I saw going through that I already knew how it ended. Like I caught that stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the heck out of it. So.
The next section for us is character. I said that I loved Teddy, loved the Doctor, liked Chuck, and liked the other side characters. So for me, that's a 9 out of 10. I loved Teddy. I think he was so interesting, partially because of the war veteran side of it, being from World War II, having all these different like horrific things happen to him.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as the story unfolds, you start learning more about his family and all the crazy things that happen and insane stuff. So I thought he was extremely interesting throughout the movie, whether you knew beforehand or not that he was actually crazy. Like, I liked him a lot as the detective, as the like U.S. Marshal. Like, that was really cool.
He was a weird type of crazy, though. He wasn't like
so yeah.
He was just like reliving these moments. Yeah, kind of delusional. He wasn't like
he wasn't actually insane.
I'm gonna like attack you and just like go crazy, like insane.
And then I loved the Doctor, Ben Kingsley's character. He was so interesting and good, and he gave you moments of like, oh, this guy's the greatest. He's so nice. And the other movie was like, oh, this guy's so shady. He's so dirty. He's so rotten. He's gonna like kill you and like perform experiments on your brain for the next 50 years. And so for me, those two guys carried the movie. The Hulk, Chuck, yeah.
That's what Danielle kept saying. She kept going. The Hulk,
yeah. Mark Ruffalo. Chuck's character's fun. He's kind of a good, like, Robin character as far as like, yes, boss, whatever you say, boss, let's go, boss, kind of thing. So he's kind of a fun character. And then obviously at the end, you figure out why he is like that.
Yeah.
That kind of helped, I thought.
He was trying to keep him from going to the lighthouse alone.
Yeah. I think that helped make his character more interesting.
He was there to protect him, to make sure he didn't get like hurt throughout the way, which I thought was cool.
So I thought this was a really strong category. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I give it an 8 out of 10. It was, for me, it was weird. It was hard to rate the characters because they were two different characters at the same time in a way.
No doubt.
Because the switch at the end, of course, because you're kind of taught to think that the professor, whatever his name is shady throughout the whole time. You're like, well, what's up with this dude? And then you figure out that it's like, oh, he's actually a good guy. He's trying to help him, which I really like that twist. I like that a lot. And same thing with Mark Ruffalo's character, because I was like, for a second when they made it look like he died and like fell off the cliff, I was like, what the heck? And then that's okay. So that moment is when I like absolutely knew, like, I knew he was crazy before because I knew the ending, but that's that point for me where I was like, I was 100% sure, like that he was crazy. It was like at that moment where he saw like
he sees the body on the rock.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way they're gonna do that. Like Scorsese's not gonna sit there and just like have him fall off the cliff.
Yeah,
that feels so stupid.
So did the girl character exist?
No.
The girl in the rocks in the caves?
No.
She like just didn't exist at all.
Yeah, it was all in his head.
He just created her.
Yeah.
But everybody else is like based on a real character.
Well, that's what the doctor said, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So every other character is based on a real character.
Mm-hmm.
Like the lady who broke out of prison is the nurse. His partner is this doctor. The doctor is himself, I guess.
Yeah.
But that only person he created is
the lady in the cave, which was supposed to be the lady
who broke out.
Who broke out. Yeah. So yeah, I think she was figment of his imagination because she was. I think because at that point when they told her that that was in his head, like they were being truthful with him already. Like they weren't sitting there trying to like cover up or anything or lie.
I want to hear your thoughts. Whenever he's in the cave and she's explaining to him the food and the water and the cigarettes, whenever she said cigarettes, I was like, holy crap. How many times has he smoked a cigarette in this movie?
Yeah.
And they've always been given him by somebody else. And I was like, dang it, she's right. And I literally was like, oh
so that would have made another cool story too. I thought like I would have been perfectly fine if they're like, oh, they're trying to make him crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and she was like, it takes 36 to 48 hours, and I was like, he's been there for like 2 days.
Like 2 or 3
he's
days,
legit losing his mind.
Yeah.
And so then at the end, I was like, holy crap, he's losing his mind. He's gonna believe these people. And so literally, they had me go in like 7 different directions.
Yeah. I like that a
awesome.
lot. I like that a lot.
But then at the end, obviously, you figure out that he's crazy. But, so what did you think happened? Like, how did you process that scene in particular with her character if she didn't actually exist?
Well, what's your score first? You haven't said your score.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let me say my character score because I agree with everything, and then we'll jump on into plot. And I won't say much about character. I gave it a 9.
Solid.
Because I agree with everything. Ben Kingsley and Teddy carried it. Even like his wife character, I was like,
she was interesting.
She
actually
me.
was interesting.
So kind of into plot, which is where we're going, and it's interesting to hear. And this maybe is just the way my mind works. How you guys, and this is kind of a meta question, but I don't care. We're go ahead and get into it. You guys think he was insane the whole time? Right or wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Luke is 100%. Yeah,
I think he wasn't. I think that the scene with in the cave, like that was all real. And see, this is the thing about this movie is like you really don't
know. There's no way to tell.
No 100% in my opinion definitive.
Yeah.
This is what this is. So that she's completely right that they're drugging him, they're conducting experiments, they're doing all this junk and stuff.
So do you think the scene in the dungeon with the creepy guy actually happened?
Yeah, I think it all actually happened.
Happened.
Yeah.
He actually beat up that guy too.
The guy he's talking to at the matches?
Yeah, he beat that guy up earlier, like before the movie started. Like that was already an earlier event. Yeah. That was that guy was beat up by him.
Right.
Which this is based off a book. I was reading the stuff of like
I bought the book.
The book and the movie are very close, except for the line he gives at the end.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in plot.
Yeah, I'll get that later. I don't know, man.
So and this is just kind of I don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
But like even like honestly, the thing at the end is what made me, because up until the point of when they were like, oh no, you're crazy, this is all this, and then explaining it at the end with the doctor, and when he is sitting there talking to Mark Ruffalo's character at the end, smoking a cigarette,
the very end,
and he's like, man, we got to get out of here, like we got to figure it. That to me was like, I was like, yep, he faked all that crap to let them, like he's real. Crap, how can I say this? He's not crazy. He's saying,
actually sane.
He's pretending that he's just going along with it to. But why would he have said that to that guy?
Well, I think he's going along.
I don't know.
I think he's going along with it at the end because he's just so overcome with guilt and all this.
That's where I'm at. So
Okay.
Well,
Is this a meta question?
I
Do
want
we
to
need
save that
we need to
conversation
say-
for
okay,
later
okay.
because that's like one of my favorite parts about the whole movie.
Okay.
So for plot, I gave plot a 10 out of 10 for like 75 reasons. I don't want to get into all of them.
Just
but,
list 2 of them.
I loved the mystery and I loved the layers and I loved how
Yeah.
they pulled back layer after layer and it just kept getting deeper and the conspiracy kept going farther. I loved the flashbacks with the concentration camp and the different things that happen. I love that stuff. I love the wife being around. I think she was super interesting.
Yeah.
And then the ending. I love the ending. So for those reasons, I gave plot a 10 out of 10. It was
reasons,
going
I'm out.
so many. Yeah, for those reasons, I'm out. There's so many different directions that the movie took you, the plot took you, and they all kind of came together at the end. To me, it was brilliantly done.
Okay.
The way they handled all the different kind of things that were happening.
Okay, so this is my highest rated section. I also gave it a 10 out of 10.
Baby.
Mostly because I was interested throughout the whole movie, but I became most interested when they realized that it was all an experiment to get him to realize what was going on. Like once they said that, I was like, dang, that is so cool that they this doctor cares so much about his patients that he's willing to go through all this stuff just so he can save this guy from getting, lobotomized.
Right.
Which is basically,
Being killed.
it's basically death back then because it's
Right.
just that unscrews you in a way that's not
Turns into a
right.
zombie.
So I really loved that part. I was interested throughout the whole way. I keep wanting to talk about cinematic elements because that is honestly my most talked about section.
There was a lot of good stuff in there.
There's a lot of bad stuff too. Hold on.
Yeah.
But so I really loved that. I think I liked the whole buddy cop kind of thing. I really liked all the World War II stuff with the
flashbacks.
the camps and everything. Every time they had a flashback, I was like, oh, this is legit.
I love the German doctor. I thought that made, I don't know, it just kind of added a little bit of something.
Well, then this was
Kinda
such a weird. This movie was in such a weird year too, like 50 something.
Yeah.
Because this is years after the war had ended, right?
9 years, yeah.
This was years after the war ended, so you're kind of in between this and like the 60s, which is what, Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
And like at this point you're like, so the German wars ended, and then you see this, you have this weird pool to where they still hate Germans in a way, and they're still talking about the war. There's still all this, like you're kind of seeing the ramifications of it, like the post-war, people's feelings and all that. So I thought that was really interesting as well, especially, since you brought up the doctor.
Yeah.
And he talks about there's nothing against legal immigration.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor says. So I don't know. It was a really good mystery movie. I think it had some weird. I'm gonna bring up tone again real quick. There was some weird tone stuff because it had some scary vibes to it. Like when they first get there and they walk up and there's a lady with the
crazy
looking lady who's got
the terrifying
healed slit throat. And their hair's all falling out.
No hair. Yeah.
So
ugly.
that was kind of like a horror little slice in there. And then whenever they're in cell block C, is it the one that's the Civil War thing? There's some scary elements to that. Which comes with the asylum part of it, but for me there's a little bit of weird tone stuff there, which definitely fit. It did. It's just I don't know. It's something I noticed, but like I said, gave it a 10 out of 10 just because I really enjoyed the story and everything. Yeah, it was good.
What?
I gave it a 0. No, I'm just kidding. I gave it a 10 out of 10 also.
Nice.
Yeah.
For some reason I would have been like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
No, I mean, yes, I really did enjoy this.
Yeah.
Good. I completely forgot about the German the other doctor and the whole board of doctors that they actually go and talk to, and I'm just literally I should have watched it a second time because I watched it Thursday night of last week. And I was like, I need to watch this again before the podcast, and I didn't, and I wish I would have because I feel like I would have because I'm still so torn of what's real, what's not, what really happened.
No doubt. My students are the ones who suggested for me to watch this movie.
Really?
And literally for the next 2 weeks, every day before class, we would sit there and argue about this movie.
That's crazy.
Because there's so many different interpretations.
Dude.
So yeah, I gave that section 10 out of 10. I also gave conflict, tension, and urgency a 10 out of 10. For me, the conflict is amazing because of the inner conflict with the lead character, the personal conflict with all the just crazy family stuff, and then the external conflict with the doctors and the different creepy like experiment stuff that's going on. The urgency is not necessarily great. It's kind of inconsistent. There's moments of it or whatever. And for me, the tension just like carried this section, and I gave it a 10 out of 10 because the tension was so high.
Well, the urgency
for
is
so
there,
long. It is there. It's
but
just
then
not.
they like end it whenever they put that fake lady, whatever her name is, in that cell. Like, oh, we found her.
Oh yeah, we found her.
Yeah.
So they'll
like-
create urgency and then they end it.
Yeah, there was only urgency for like 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So I gave it 10 out of 10. I totally understand if you guys like knocked it for the urgency. For me, what I'm saying is I weighted the suspense. The suspense was so good, so high. The tension was so good and so high that I kind of knocked it up for that.
Yeah. I gave it a 7 out of 10 because so I do agree, like those elements were there, and obviously we just mentioned the urgency. Urgency was pretty hit or miss, but the tension and everything was like it was there throughout, but it was very like mellow sense of tension. There's nothing that I felt that was like end all be all. There's no like ultimatums or anything.
He wasn't in like physical danger really at any point till the end, I guess. So I can feel that.
And so like I think it was there, and that's a lot of what was driving the movie, obviously. But no, I think.
See, for me, I see your point.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in danger, like literally, like physically, literally wasn't in danger.
Yeah.
For me, I guess the tension came from the people, right? Whenever he's interviewing those people in the cafeteria, and the lady writes down "run" in the notebook, like that was a really tense moment. Whenever he goes in the dungeon, like in the Civil War fort, like that was a really tense moment.
Cell Block C.
Cell Block C. Yeah, like so for me, like there was just so many moments of tension that kind of like just gripped you.
Well, there's a lot of moments I think were supposed to be like that, but that didn't really land.
Huh.
So like some of his dream sequences.
Yeah.
See,
like
that was what I was gonna. I thought those were super tense, but keep going.
Like those for me weren't like.
Whenever she's like bleeding or whatever.
I thought they were cool. Like
the baby.
Don't get me wrong. I'm saying stuff about these, but in the end, I all thought it was cool and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't think it hit the way like it was meant to hit.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. I felt like Paul feels. I guess it sounds like.
Yeah. So I gave it a 9.
Yeah.
And mainly only docked it because of the urgency.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the conflict is what really drove this whole movie.
So good.
Because of the, both external and tons of internal conflict, obviously. But a lot of the, so tension and urgency were, I can agree with, were hit or miss. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought the conflict was enough to carry it.
Baby, While You're All Wet. Did you guys figure that one out?
Yeah.
Did you get that kind of callback at the end? Callie literally, the first time we watched it, she was like, that's going to be important. And I was like, no way. It was just literally...
When did they first say that?
Like the first dream sequence, because it was like raining or something.
The first dream, she's soaking wet, and
That's
he
right.
like hugs her.
That's right.
And she starts bleeding randomly, and you're like, what the crap is happening? Like, literally, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then he says, baby, why you're all wet? And then, anyway.
Obviously,
he says it...
Like 2 or 3 times
he says it,
after
I think
that.
3 times total.
And then the doctor says it.
The doctor says it whenever he walks up to the... Yeah.
And when the doctor said it, I was like, what?
The doctor said it, I was like, no way. Okay, anyway, I gave that section a 10, a 9, and a 7. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Cinematic elements for me. This is an interesting section because I do agree with you that there's some negative things.
There's a lot of negative things for me.
For me, it's not going to be as bad as Luke, I don't think. I gave it a 9, and... Yeah, I totally acknowledge some of the weaknesses, but
Luke's gonna give it a first 0.
For me, the positives outweigh the negatives, and I kind of overlooked some of the negatives, and it's probably biased on my point. But I want to hear Luke's negatives first.
Okay, so I gave this section a 4.
Wow.
Dude.
So
okay.
Brutal.
Here we go. I want to hear this.
And for me,
Brutal.
it started right off the bat. So
On the boat?
the CGI was pretty god awful.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
dude.
terrible.
Dude,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
terrible.
so I was sitting there watching. I'm like, all right. So I'm like trying to think. Like this movie came out a while ago, right? So it shouldn't be that. But I was like, wait, that was 2010.
Yeah.
Iron Man was out already.
It was just cheap.
Yeah.
Just cheap and
so
lazy is what
that
it
I was
was.
like, no, that doesn't make sense.
It literally looked like the olden days when they were like rolling the screen as they
Yeah.
like, that's what it looked like.
Which at
It's
second I
so
was like, I don't know,
bad.
is that practical? I'm like, no, this is green screen. Like
terrible.
the water wasn't moving correctly
It was
with the
terrible.
boat,
That was
and
terrible.
that was bad. Like for me, it was like bam, 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 just like bad stuff. And then they
Yeah.
get to the island and they're talking to the police officer, and he's like telling them like where the cell blocks are, and they're doing these whip pans. So
Okay. Yes.
those I see the use of them, yes, because if you use them more throughout the story. But
they
that was
barely
it was
used
just
them.
like
Yeah, it was random.
there's cell block A over here. It was like whoosh, and I was like, wow, whoa. And then,
Yes.
then they're like, there's cell block C. It's like whoosh, and I was like, whoa. So I mean, that part for me it was just like it was jarring, to be honest.
Yes, and that was something I was going to definitely bring up too, because I wanted to ask, because you would have known.
Yeah.
Do you feel like those were intentional to disorient the viewer, or they were just dumb choices?
I think they're just dumb choices because
Okay.
they're like, I feel like they were sitting down like cinematographers like, it'd be cool, whip bands. And
Well, yeah, no, and
they're like, they go back to editing. They're like, hey, do we have any more cuts of this shot? And they're like, no, all we have are whip pans. And it's just like, all right, I guess we'll throw it in.
I think you make a really good point of like, hey, if they would have done this like consistently throughout the movie, like every 10, 20 minutes,
Yeah,
like then maybe,
like if it would have been like a brand within the movie.
or yeah, like I think that totally would have worked. Or hey, like let's really try to disorient somebody in this particular scene, then let's do it. But
there was
yeah,
only one time that I was like, and it was like when they first got to the doctor's office and he gave him some water, and then he started to not feel good, and then it whipped, and I was like, okay, that's the only one that I've seen that, and they
Yeah.
didn't do any more after that. I was like, what the
So that
oh
that,
dude, so he's taking the pills.
yeah, that was what it was, the aspirin or whatever.
He takes pills twice.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, those
Dude,
were
yes, sir.
issues for me, and it's just like,
Oh yeah.
obviously, I'm sure those had different effects. And some people were like, oh, I loved it, but like me, I was like, no. I'm like, if you're gonna do that, like, I want to see
Yeah.
it a few more times. Like
I feel
they did
that.
it once more. You're right with
the pills.
With the pills, yeah. But like
But-
to me, that wasn't like the movie was 2.5 hours long, and they did it
Yeah.
within like.
The first 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah,
three
and it was just
Yeah.
like they used like 3. I'm like, I'm like, do it a couple more times, please. There was also some pretty harsh cuts with audio, music I noticed, and just like
Oh,
talking in general.
I noticed
So,
that where the music would go up and down,
well, there's one
or even
part.
start, stop, like briefly.
Going back to the boat again, I just feel like this was a whole just like wasted section, like cinematic elements wise. But they're sitting there talking or something, and then there's like you hear water or it's music or something. You're hearing something.
Okay.
Then they cut to a different angle and you don't hear it. So
Huh.
it was like inconsistent audio.
Interesting.
Weird.
I
Okay,
didn't
I
notice
missed
that
that
scene.
one.
Yeah.
The boat scene is bad. I totally
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Oh yeah, the CGI was rough.
That was
terrible.
bad. And then so this is all just personal stuff for me. So they tried to get creative with some shots and do some like top down kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
They did that in a few of I think they did that in the cell block C sequence.
Yeah.
They did it earlier on in the movie too. Those just didn't work for me.
I like the one that I can remember that I think of. The one I liked it was whenever they were driving in the Jeep up the hill.
Yeah, I mean,
like that
and you
one.
see the people out in the field and stuff.
Yeah, I like that one, but I agree with
But
it.
then
The
they
other
do
ones
them
were-
from like the top of like
Yeah,
the ceiling in a room, and for like that was just kind of another thing with the whip pans. If they did it more, maybe it
Yeah.
would have worked.
Yeah.
I
But
gotcha. I
they
feel
only
that.
did it a few times, and it's just like it felt like they were trying things and they didn't hit. And obviously this is just me coming from a technical standpoint. Like I shoot video every day, so it's just
Right,
like,
yeah, you see it.
I feel that.
Like my whole thing is like consistency. You want to be consistent, and so when
Yeah.
I see these inconsistencies, it's for me. It's like oh man, really? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave it a 4 just because I felt like they kept trying things and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Um,
One
Yeah.
other thing for me that I want to kind of dog on, since we're in that point of this, was when he was talking to the dude in the cell block with
The
the matches.
yes.
I was like, man, those are the longest freaking matches.
The longest and brightest.
And-
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, at first you can tell it's actually being shot in the total dark with a match, and it's like this much light.
Yeah.
And then later the match is off screen. You
Yeah.
can't see it anymore, and then the light is like this, like big orange bulb.
Yeah.
And then it goes off.
I'm like, my finger would be burning in like 2 seconds.
No,
I was like, I really was, because
that's a really cool idea. Really cool idea.
It
Just
was cool,
poorly executed.
Like, I actually like movies that do stuff like that, and then the dude actually like burns their finger.
Yeah.
Like, if that would have happened, he'd like burn his finger, and then like it would have like cut down or something over to him, like reached in, and then like looked up, and the dude's face was like right, like a little
I thought
bit
that
of
was
a
gonna
jump
happen.
scare
Whenever
or something.
the
or
light goes
other.
out, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Like,
Yeah.
if something like that would have happened, I'd be like, okay.
It's like,
but like, no, they
it's like the movies when they have like a 6-shooter and they shot out like 10 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, which you brought up the cell blocks again, which made me think of another thing. So the CGI just wasn't bad.
Oh.
The green screen and CGI just wasn't bad with the boat. It was bad throughout, because then they showed the cell block scene that looked super fake.
Oh,
The dream sequence scenes looked like they had some stuff like they walked into the house and outside you could see the pavilion and stuff. That looked super fake.
Yeah, like the coloring of the dream sequences also looked real
like
weird.
Some mislighting and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. There's just like, you appreciate it just because a lot of it feels practical in a way. Like I have an appreciation for that, but then I also think you can do a whole lot better job,
Yeah.
especially for a high-end movie.
What'd you give it?
So I gave it an 8, but the more we talk about it, the more
See,
I'm like, man, I really kind of think that I should knock this a little bit.
So I gave it a 9, and I totally agree. The CGI is bad, and I'm not going to argue and defend this movie at all. But there's some other things that I did like about it.
Yeah.
For me, what I'm saying is the writing, and the directing, not the director, sorry, the writing and the acting, for me, outweigh.
And I'll even say some of the
those
score was pretty
Oh,
good.
the score was awesome, yeah.
Kind of, if
It
they
was
had edited
eerie
it, would have edited it correctly.
Yeah.
The
So-
score was a little tense, and then a few of the things. Yeah, so I'll stick with my 8. I feel like as far as cinematography and CGI and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think coming from my side, those things mean more
No
to me.
doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Like obviously the acting was there. It's DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you have great actors, Mark Ruffalo, like alongside him, and then like it's a well shot movie. I mean, there's no getting around that. But I feel like that should be pretty standard in a Scorsese movie.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Interesting.
So that's a total score of a 47 for me.
Oh,
It's a really high score. Really, really high score.
I gave
36.
it a 46.
46 and 47. Shoot. That's crazy.
See, I do agree this movie had its faults in a few sections, but I really did enjoy this movie quite a lot.
I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay, meta question time. I've got 5.
I've got,
and I'm sure the ending will be like
4.
a large conversation. So. Okay, top 3 Leonardo DiCaprio movie?
No.
Question mark.
I got to think of a maybe. I know my 1 and 2. 1 is Departed, and 2 is Revenant. No question. Could this be a 3? Possibly, because I can't think of another one off the bat.
Inception?
Maybe.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's true.
I'm gonna say this is top 5, but not top 3.
I could see that. Yeah.
This is top 5, but it's number 5.
Yeah, it's probably 4 or 5 for me. I agree. The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
that is true,
role for him was phenomenal. Top 3 Scorsese movie?
No.
No.
Departed again. That's my favorite Scorsese movie of all time.
Departed is my favorite Scorsese movie.
And then he did Goodfellas and
Taxi
Driver, and things like that. Like, yeah, no, this is not a.
Okay, those are my first 2 kind of easy ones.
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, we already kind of talked about this one, and this one may have been said. This is just maybe for me not remembering. Does it say how his wife died? Like, actually died?
He shot her.
He stabbed her. Shot her. No, he shot her. He shot her.
Oh,
he shot
yeah,
her.
that happens in the movie. I forgot. Okay. See, I knew that was going to be easy when I just
That's
forgot.
why every time in the dream sequence, she bleeds from her stomach.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you guys have a jump scare that you actually like?
No.
No.
Did you?
There's one. It's when the guy comes around the corner and says, "Tag, you're it."
Oh, yeah.
That one, I was like, oh gosh. The first time it got me. The second time it didn't get me. I was ready for it. But the first time I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, Danielle jumped pretty hard.
He scared me. He scared me.
That's funny.
He got me good. Got me really good on that one.
I think at that point I was kind of like in the zone of like cell block C. Like I kind of expected that.
Yeah, I was in cell block C, but I was like this. And then he like comes around the corner and I was like, oh my god. And then he says tag. I was like, oh, that was the stupidest thing I've ever jumped for in my entire life.
I like that though. I thought it was kind of funny.
That was funny too, yeah. You got another question, Paul? I got two more.
Let's see. Well, we kind of already talked. I had was did you see it coming, and we kind of already talked about that.
Okay.
Another one was, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but maybe a little more definition.
Mm-hmm.
Which story was real, quote unquote? The story of he was crazy, or the story of it was not crazy? We'll leave it at that.
So I think he was doing his whole like delusion thing. They're letting him live it out until he gets to the lighthouse and like, hey, by the way, you're crazy. And then he kind of snaps him out of it. He stays snapped out of it. Wait, are we getting to this point yet, or am I getting too far into this?
I think that's kind of my question. My questions are pretty similar, and so I think we can just jump into it.
Yeah, because I don't have anything else after these.
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like what Luke's gonna say is that he is crazy, like delusional.
Yeah.
And then in the end, he has a moment of sanity where he decides that it is better, and he even says this, not directly. I guess.
He says, "Is it better to
die a hero, or to die a good man, or to live as a monster?"
Yeah.
Or is it worse, to live as a monster or to die a good man?
What's the line from Batman?
Yeah.
Is it better to live as a hero or die? Whatever. No,
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Nolan. Anyway.
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry, guys.
Anyway.
You're up to like $100 in Nolan coins.
He says, is it worse to die a monster, or is it worse to die a good man or live to be a monster?
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, in that moment, he is showing the audience that he is sane.
Mm-hmm.
But he is telling Chuck that he is not by saying, "Hey, let's get out of here." Or, "Hey, we gotta get out of here."
Yeah.
Because Chuck looks at Ben Kingsley's character and gives him the nod. They walk over, and then the last thing he says is that line, and he walks off.
Mm-hmm, to get lobotomized.
So for me, that is his decision to commit suicide, essentially, via.
Because he doesn't want to sit there and relive those moments over and over and over again.
He feels guilty. He feels terrible. He doesn't want to relive his past. And so to me, he was delusional. The entire movie was a delusion.
Yeah.
Until the end.
Which I loved that. And then like, what he said was the line he says, "The monster dies a good man," whatever. I thought that was that was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. I thought that was so good.
So he was choosing to die a good man rather than live as a monster.
Yeah, he was dying with his sanity intact.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted the ending.
Okay.
And so, to go backwards and watch it again, I was like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, this guy looks and feels legit. And so, at the end, whenever they're sitting in the lighthouse and Ben Kingsley's character is explaining everything, I was like, he's trying to cover up these experiments. He's trying to cover up himself. He's trying to make him feel and trick him. He took those pills. He smoked the cigarettes. He ate the food. He drank the water. They're gonna Shanghai this guy into thinking he's crazy. And he's a legit U.S. Marshal. They have no reason, all these things. That's what I'm thinking. And then I stink and watch the end. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
I just came to the same conclusion again.
Well, and the whole story they were telling about with the lady that escaped, like what she was in there for,
was a
and
real
all
she was the
that
doctor.
was all his symptoms, or all the stuff. They were describing him, but they were putting those on her.
His character in the story is her.
Mm-hmm. He was kind of solving his own mystery in a way.
I didn't put that together. I like that. I didn't put that together. Smart.
What you got, Paul?
Okay, so you don't agree with either of us.
I don't know.
We're kind of on the same.
Are
we on the exact same?
We're in the same wavelength here,
Okay.
AJ.
This is the first time I can confidently say I don't know
About a movie.
Yeah, because I totally am in the camp of he was a U.S. Marshal. He went to this place to solve a murder, and they made him crazy, and they convinced him he's crazy.
What about the names?
What do you mean?
How the names are anagrams.
Yeah.
That was
Coinky dink.
That was some honky to me. Like, even though, yes,
because in your brain works weird things out like that.
your brain does work weird things out like that. But I also was like, man, they made the second name up.
Anthony Ladis?
Yeah.
He made that. He's been saying that name the whole movie.
Did he say his first name at all before then?
Do you know Anthony Ladis? He asked all those people in the
See, like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
That was his demons personified.
Yeah, that's like the villain. He's the villain that he killed his wife. He wants to chase down.
Right, but
he's the reason he's there.
All I remember him saying was Ladis. I don't remember him saying Anthony Ladis.
Yeah, he asked all the people in the cafeteria. I'm 99% sure.
Okay.
Do you know Anthony Ladis? Have you seen Anthony Ladis?
Yeah.
The girl's name, I never heard her name out loud. And so whenever they did the anagram for her, I was like, I buy it.
Was it Rachel?
Yeah, it was Rachel Salandro.
They said that throughout the movie.
No, I know. They said Rachel Salandro. I never heard the other girl.
The wife's
his
name.
wife's name.
Oh. What was his wife's name?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, see, that's what I'm saying.
Like, I just bought that one. I was like, yeah, the first one works. I'll buy the second one. I didn't worry about the second one.
See, that was the thing, too, is like, I now want to, like, write it out and be like, is this really?
I've done it. I think it actually works.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. Yeah. See, like, I keep trying to defend myself, but
I want you to be right. I 100% want you to be right.
Well,
because I've never heard someone actually argue that point.
Because
every
was
single
his
thing
real
I've read
name.
online is his real name is Andrew Ladis. And the character he creates for himself is
Teddy Daniels.
Yeah. I want to believe you, bro. I do.
Dude,
I really do.
don't know.
The
Like,
name stuff was wild, but
I'd
forgotten about that.
That's the trump card to me. That's their way around it. That's their way of saying you are legit crazy, and here's why. And that to me is the trump card. Because if you don't have the names, then your argument of the cigarettes and the pills and everything, it's too fishy. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then you start thinking, yeah, he made that. Yeah, he did. And you're like, oh shoot, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again. But
this
point, I don't know.
That's one of the reasons I like the movie so much is the rewatchability. Like, people were like, I can't watch Inception anymore. I can't watch The Prestige anymore, or whatever. And I'm like, bro, movies like that are begging you to watch them again.
Dude, I watch crap for the 50th time.
That's what I'm saying.
And I still see something like, oh, I've never
That's
noticed
what I'm
that.
saying, bro.
Like, dude, I have Parks and Rec on a nonstop loop in my house, and I always find junk that I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I never noticed that this thing, like
Have you seen Inception multiple times?
Yeah.
Have you seen Inception multiple times?
I own it, but I haven't seen it.
You've never seen Inception? Luke.
I am one of the only people that
tier.
I've known that understood it fully the first time they watched it. And that's what frustrates me about this movie that I don't.
See, I'm the opposite. Inception took me like 17 times.
Yeah.
That's not true. Probably like 2 or 3. But this movie, for me, at least the first time I watched it, I walked away and I was like, because I'm still the same conclusion I had the first time I watched it.
Yeah. Because I just don't want him to be crazy.
I don't either. That's what I was like. Because literally the first time I'm watching it, my brain. Have you ever seen like the YouTube videos of the guy who like explains movies like for the audience, like as he's watching? It's like really funny. Anyway, he's just a funny guy. But he's like, and he's like us basically watching a movie.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. So my brain, while I'm watching that movie, at the end, he walks in the lighthouse. I'm like,
well, they made it really easy. There's only one guard
There's
outside.
one guard. Kind of a weird deal. He walks in there, and it's like the guy sitting there at the desk, and he's like, "Why are you all wet, baby?" or whatever he says.
Yeah.
I was like, "No,
yeah,
no." And then he's like, "You're crazy," and I was like, "Bro, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him." And he's like, "I don't believe you. I'm a U.S. Marshal, bro." And I'm like, all this stuff. And he's like talking.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, yeah. Stay strong, baby. Stay strong. Let's go. And he's like, he shows him the names, and I was like, "Shoot." And then he's like, he comes up with some other excuse and he like lays down pictures, and I was like, dang it. Then he shows a picture of his daughter. He's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
That's the girl. He's been seeing the visions. He's been seeing
the
visions, and I was like, no, that's the same girl.
Well, he's sitting there like, he's like, yeah, I know about this, and this, and it's all this stuff that
just
like
one more thing, and I was like, no. Like I literally could not think of anything else. And then it cuts to the next scene when he's like laying in the bed and he's like, yeah, I believe this crap and I'm, whatever. And the nurse walks in. It's Rachel Salandro, but it's actually just the nurse. And I was like, dang it. And then they walked out and I was like, wait. And then he says the line. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So then that's just kind of that's where I landed.
And see what happens at the end is because he walks away and they show the lighthouse and he just knocks out the guards and escapes. That's how the movie ends.
There's a jet ski. There's a jet ski in the water over here somewhere.
Very early
it's
jet ski.
It's him with the proof.
Yeah.
That Shutter Island's crazy.
Well, I mean, then if you watch all the way through, or when you're watching it, Chuck never takes any of the pills and stuff. So
Chuck never drinks or smokes anything that's like not his. He's the one who gives out the cigarettes, and he never takes medicine.
And so I mean, if
I'm gonna have to watch this again.
That,
dude, it's rewatchable, man. I enjoyed it the second time almost as much as the first time because I was watching it for different reasons. Like I was looking for different.
Well, and I mean, there were little subtle clues that probably made it more noticeable. Like one of the things that I noticed, and this is me just being a weird movie watcher again, and I don't, whatever. Like the part where he's talking to the girl and she writes "run" on the paper, where she asks for a cup of water.
Yeah.
And she, in one scene, and I don't know if this was a continuity thing or it was, I honestly saw it as his mind was, she drinks the water, but she sets the cup down and it's still full. And I was like, wait, what?
That could have just been an editing mistake.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was an editing mistake from Luke, or it was his mind was...
she wasn't crazy either.
She was the one that seemed normal.
Well, after they come out of that meeting, she was acting like a normal person and laughing it up with the
he even
people.
Says, excuse me for asking you this, but you seem kind of normal. And she's oh yeah, axing your husband kind of does that to a person. And I was like, what?
Yeah, she was in on it all. Her and the guy before, because they all came out of that meeting, and that's when the doctor was like, oh hey, what are you doing here? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's also why they had to give up the guns too.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep, at the beginning.
He had to give up the guns.
Because he was crazy. They didn't want a crazy person just wielding a gun around.
10-1, his gun was never loaded.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it wasn't. It was plastic.
Yeah, he breaks it. I forgot he broke it at the end. You're right.
Dang it.
Because he says the gun's not loaded.
I'm sitting here myth busting right and left.
Dude.
Come on.
Bro,
yeah, y'all are convincing me.
I'm with Luke on this one, and I've been there since I watched it the first time. I just gotta watch it again. I didn't want it to be true, but I think it's true, and I think it is a cool ending because he chooses to die a good man because, in that moment, for whatever reason, he is sane, and honestly, the doctor's experiment worked on some level.
Yeah.
And I think it's meant to show you that it worked because he does snap out of it.
Right.
So to me, whenever he looks at Hulk and says, bro, we got to get Chuck. We got to get out of here. That to me is him, what you're saying, acting at the beginning. That is him telling him to give him the signal to come.
Yeah. That was him giving up in a sense.
Yeah.
Another small thing, if you noticed, whenever they had to give up their guns, Chuck... had a hard time unholstering and stuff because he's a doctor. He doesn't deal with guns and holsters all the time.
I did notice that, but it didn't make sense.
They drew that shot the first time. I was like,
and that's something DiCaprio noticed too. He's like, what's going on?
The second time I watched it, I noticed how long the camera was on that. I was like, why did they show that?
Yeah, he was struggling getting it out.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of little things like that.
I'm sure. Yeah, the second time I watch it, I'm gonna be like, oh, this. Yeah, I might have to do another episode, dude, to be like, okay, yeah, they were right.
If you only seen Shutter Island once, I highly recommend watching it a second time because it is rewatchable.
I feel like I've seen it all. I've seen it once.
Yeah, Luke's like, never.
But you already knew the ending, so you were already watching it with the second viewing. I was.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You didn't never get to experience the joy.
I give it a 37. Was that an 85?
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how mind blown were you?
76.
76. Okay.
Huh? How mind blown was I?
Because Prestige is a 10 million.
Is a 10 out of 10.
It's no doubt. It's like you're blown multiple times, right? This movie for me, well, gross, yeah. For me, this movie was I don't know, an 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it was a little bit below the Prestige, but it was up there.
It was up there because the thing that Prestige has is that you don't know until the very end.
Literally
the last frame.
No clue.
With
this
movie,
happens twice. with two different like things.
Oh yeah. But with this movie, like, yeah, you I don't know. Yeah, it's a little sooner on, but yeah, like, I kind of saw it coming.
So I would give it an 8 to start, but then the more like I would bump it to a 9 because of what we already talked about, where it's like, holy crap, no. It just keeps going. Like, so for me, I would probably bump it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again and get back to you.
Oh, dude, it's good. Good stuff.
Is that all we got for it?
Good movie. Great movie.
Oh, so okay, this is just again for me.
Okay.
So they lobotomized him at the end.
Yeah.
You can see the ice pick. He's carrying the ice pick.
Yeah.
What? I didn't see.
Through the eye.
The one of the servant guys, one of the orderlies, in like the all white. He's like carrying like a cloth, and like you can see the ice pick in the cloth.
That's how they lobotomized people back in the day.
The ice pick through the eye. She explains it in the cave.
Dude, I need to watch this movie again. Holy nuts!
In the cave scene, the lady doctor who says, "I was a doctor here."
Yeah.
And she explains what lobotomy is, and it's where you put the ice pick through their eyeball, and that's how you like hit their brain, and it turns them into a zombie. Basically,
I feel real dumb because, like, I'm not kidding. This is the first time in a long time that I've watched a movie and not like figured it out.
Oh, hey, another little thing. Whenever they go to the cliff sides with all the police officers, they're not trying too hard to look. They're all just kind of sitting around. And, like, DiCaprio's like, what the heck? And it's like, because they know they're looking for nothing, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So they just go out there to, for
Appease
acting
him.
reasons.
Okay,
yeah,
I was waiting for
there.
the scene where they show him acting like a dummy and, like, running around the island pretending. But they never showed that scene.
Yeah, like little flashback scenes of him, like, talking to nothing.
They never showed that.
Which makes me think it was fake. No, I'm just kidding.
Which makes me think it's fake. But I'm glad they didn't, because that would have made it feel like... Okay, random other thing. I loved the tie. Whenever he puts the tie in the car and says, "Baby, I love you." But this is
the ugly tie.
Yeah.
I was literally crying. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Because that was so funny.
That was funny.
I thought that. Like, the first time I saw him put the tie on, I was like, that is a friggin' like hideous tie.
Hideous, yeah.
And he's like, "Baby, I love you, but this is one effing ugly tie," or whatever he says.
Catch that Tulsa, Oklahoma reference, too?
Yeah,
at
the
Tulsa,
end. Yeah.
Yeah, he says we caught him just outside of the Oklahoma border. Yeah, he said something about Tulsa. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he
very end of the movie.
He walks into his house and there's nobody there, and he says, "Baby, I'm home. Just got back from Oklahoma."
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying like one of the doctors said that. I was like,
what a heartbreaking scene.
Oh man,
I
literally felt his pain
when that was going on.
Acting.
I was like, dude, that would have made me go insane too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to kill her.
Oh, totally.
Like, you can't let her enter society.
Oh, dude, especially in the 50s. Like, I'm surprised he only shot her. Honestly, like, I'm surprised he didn't drown her.
And then she wanted to like dress him up and put him around the table and
dude,
own personal dolls or whatever.
Like, how mad would you be?
Weird.
How mad / sad, like heartbroken, like.
Did we figure out what? No, she had
horrible.
like tendencies that she was crazy. He's like, I never did anything to.
She had the thing that like crawled across her brain or something.
Yeah, and he blamed himself because he never
get
her help earlier because she'd mentioned it. Yeah.
Dude, how heartbreaking, man. That was brutal. Brutal scene.
Yeah.
Man, it's good. Yeah, baby, while you're all wet.
Ugh.
Whenever he said it, I was like,
the doctor
said it, I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
And then he said it, and I was like,
dang.
Oh my gosh, because I remember the girl drowned her kids in the river.
Yeah,
that's the whole reason
the
he's
story.
there. Is because he's there to get her because she broke out of prison. Rachel, yeah, and she drowned her kids in the river, and I was like, no. And then it just shows the bodies, and I was like, bro, it's painful.
Well, is that it?
Can I say anything else?
Bro,
I'm good.
I'm really
I'm
trying
done.
to like replay the movie in my mind. There's just so many good moments. So many good moments. It's a great movie. I enjoyed that movie. I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah,
it was good. You redeemed
stuff.
yourself from the Stanford Prison
Bro.
Experiment.
No Country for Old Men was my pick too.
Oh, that's
You guys
true.
keep throwing me under the
I
bus.
forget about that
was a
movie.
good
Sorry.
movie.
We'll never let you live
Oh,
down Stanford
Hey,
Prison.
I'll just pick Christopher Nolan movies for the next 5,
Oh
and you
my
guys
gosh.
can tell me how great his movies are. Because I already know. I mean,
yeah, we know.
Yeah, all of his movies are 50s.
you have never seen Inception, bro.
I own it.
Oh.
I
Go
see
home
it
and
every
watch
time I
it.
sit down in my chair, but I
This
just
week.
have not watched it.
This week.
I'm watching The Fifth Element next. I have that.
Dude.
That's next on my watch
That's
list.
a good one. Have you ever seen that
Yeah,
movie?
I like
Okay.
Fifth Element. Yeah,
To get
I like Fifth
Bruce
Element.
Willis.
Bro, Inception. Okay,
I'll watch it.
was
but-
the top spinning or not?
I haven't seen it. Stop.
Dude, yeah,
Stop.
wait a minute. Yeah.
The top, bro. The top.
Okay, yeah.
It's not really.
Dude,
that big of
I actually have like
A top?
a copy
Like
of
rubber
one of
band?
those.
That's such a good movie. Oh, gosh. Anyway, we got to do Inception. We should.
We'll do that. We'll do it for
We've already
Christopher
done.
Nolan's
We've already
birthday
done.
in
We've already done
July.
Interstellar.
Yeah, we've done Interstellar.
Yeah, I'd say
So
I,
next
I
two
haven't
up-
done a Chris Nolan movie on the show.
Next
they
two
were-
up are Prestige and Inception. There you go.
dude,
Prestige is my
I will back
all-time
Prestige
favorite movie.
for sure.
Okay.
But
Great movie.
actually, as of next week, we are not watching either one of those
No.
movies.
Yep.
What are we watching?
We're
Luke?
watching Blade Runner 2049. The was it Oscar Villanueva? Is he the guy that
Yeah.
directed
Oh yeah,
Sicario?
yeah,
Sicario.
same dude.
I'm sure. I don't think his first name's Oscar. I
think it's Dennis.
Dennis, yeah, I think you're right. Dennis Villanueva. Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, right?
Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Who else is in it?
Jared Leto.
Harrison Ford's
Harrison
in it.
Ford.
Jared Leto's in it, which he is bearable. Yes.
It's not a Joker Suicide
Wow.
Squad.
Yeah. So this is probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Nice.
Wow.
I think I'm not sure how it will hit with you guys. I'm very, very interested to see how it does. The first movie is going to be interesting. I will tell
I
you
was
that.
say, watch me come into this next episode and like the first one better than the second one.
Yeah, the first one.
I
has,
could see myself already doing that because I've never seen either one.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen either one either.
The first one's got some real like legit tones to it. And you're like, oh man, like at the ending. So, yeah, the first one, I'm like, okay, all right, it was okay.
Yeah.
Second one, ooh, girl. what does it have on Rotten Tomatoes? Like a 94, I think.
Dang.
Like, yeah, this movie is stinking good. I'm pumped to watch it. But yeah, we're gonna watch that next week. You guys are both watching the first Blade Runner for context reasons.
Yep. We are not going to discuss it in the episode. We're going to continue our Mandalorian
Oh
stuff. So we're not going to do like we did with the Terminator and talk about 1 and then review 2. We're just doing review of 2049. But if you do want to have it for context, Luke, would you say for us you recommend watching both the first one and the second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna review the second one, watch the first one because the first one like there's not like great like you need to watch the first one.
Yeah.
But
Like I say, I've had a ton of people tell me that I need to watch the first one. You're the first person I've ever had say I need to watch the second one, honestly.
really,
Yeah.
well, the second one kind of flew under the radar. Like it came in, made like as much as they spent, and then just like passed through cinemas without people really like going to watch it. But then it was up for all these awards at like the Oscars and everything. I think it won an Oscar for something.
Oh yeah, I'll have to look that up.
But no, it's great. So yeah, definitely
cool.
In the week after that, we're gonna do our first week of
Star Wars month.
Yep.
We're gonna have a various number of discussion topics. So if there's anything in particular you'd like to hear us talk about, let us know. We're open to various ideas.
Yeah.
We have a list of ideas already, but
We're definitely hitting all of them. Well, we're not going to review all of the movies. We're only really reviewing
8.
Rise of Skywalker.
That'll be
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But we're going to definitely talk about all the movies,
Yep.
talk briefly on the TV shows, maybe even touch on some of the video games, and maybe throw in some books if we've read any of them. I know I have.
We'll have some discussion topics talking about whether episode 8 was good or bad, or somewhere in the middle.
Whether episode 3 was good or bad.
Episode 3 was the best one or not.
Spoiler alert, episode 8's the worst.
Luke hates 8.
I hate it. You guys know that if you've been listening consistently.
That's true.
I
You know
love
hate that
3.
movie.
So.
I have reasons, so don't just call
Do
me.
you love 3?
I love 3.
Yes.
We're
We're on the same team.
Yeah, so
I like being on the same team as Luke because we're not on the same team very often.
Don't be thinking I'm
We
just
disagree on a
following
lot
the
of things.
crowd over here hating the movie. I got legit reasons.
I don't like 8 either, but I want to argue with you just for the sake of arguing.
We'll
with you,
talk
so.
about it.
Anything you want to talk about Star Wars, it's on the table. We're going to be talking about it, so we're excited. Star Wars month, the entire month of December.
Let's prep as much of that as you want. And
Mandalorian.
But definitely won't be watching Mandalorian if you have Disney Plus. And get ready for Blade Runner 2049.
Let's go.
Yeah. Which is a good lead into Star Wars because Harrison Ford.
Yes.
There we go.
But yeah, is that all we got, guys?
Think that's it.
That's it, baby.
All right, that is it, boys. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to episode 27.